Cuti Romero, as Romero did get substituted at half-time yesterday during the Argentina game, sustaining an injury to his right foot, and he's due to have tests on the right foot. And I guess today, I guess the tests will happen. But yeah, it's really kind of damaging news in terms of if he has like picked up a recurring injury, because it was the same foot, wasn't it, that he had the injury, and he missed the last game or the game before last, and yeah, he's gone over to the internationals, played for Argentina, and gone off injured, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, obviously the current talk is at the moment he's unlikely to play the game on Tuesday, which obviously is not good news when it comes to being available for that big game against Man City after the international break. We'll have to kind of hold our breath on that. But I think it's pretty obvious over the last few weeks he's been playing with an injury. Yeah, I think it's clear for everyone to see that. Against Man City, he came off on 55 minutes. Against Aston Villa, he came off on 55 minutes in that one as well. Against Ipswich, I thought it was clear he was playing with injury in that game. He didn't seem comfortable as comfortable as he usually is on the ball and stuff like that. And his passes were going out of play, and he just didn't seem fully fit at all in that game. And now he's gone off at half time in this one. So clearly, the last few weeks he's been playing through pain and playing with an injury, and it's culminated in another situation where he's come off at half time. So maybe I just think he needs to fully recover from this injury. I think he needs to, whether it means him sitting out the next couple of weeks or whatever it is, however long it's going to take. At the moment, I don't think he's helping anyone, him playing for this injury, because the performances aren't quite there, and he keeps coming off early, and it doesn't help anyone. Yeah,
which leaves us in a bit of a precarious situation going into that City game. Hopefully, we haven't heard anything on Mickey van der Ven, but we did hear that he was going to be back after the international break.
Didn't say when after the international break.
It didn't, but they did give, I think a few like ITKs were giving like time frames, weren't they? And as much as you want to believe them, who knows what the truth is, but they did say like it should be, like, all being well, the City game is the game to look at. But we don't know until we hear from Ange in the press conference leading up to the game. So Van der Ven will be touch and go. I don't know if he's going to play or not. So if Van der Ven is out, it's Dragoshin and Davis that look like it's going to take the field. However, if Mickey van der Ven is fit, I know Dragoshin hasn't been great the last couple of games where he's been really poor, but I'm not too concerned about Van der Ven and Dragoshin taking the game.
I'm just a bit concerned about if we're going to try build up from the back, then I do worry about whether Man City will kind of force too many turnovers and too many mistakes, because we know Dragoshin's not comfortable on the ball. Van der Ven is a bit better, but he's not Romero level, and he kind of plays it safe a lot of the time. Will it mean us going a bit direct to Solanke? Maybe we need to do that a bit more in that game. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But look, whatever we want to say about Dragoshin in the last two games, as we've said, he played very well against Man City in the cup game, albeit no Haaland in that game, but he did play very well. And he played very well in the other game, and then the game after that against Aston Villa as well. So he can put in good performances. And you've got to remember as well, last year we had Emerson and Davis as centre-back, and we got a 3-3 draw. So it'd be an upgrade on that, even if it's Dragoshin and Davis at least. So there is hope. We know that going to Man City, even with a weakened back line, we know we're always going to go for the win and we're going to attack. So hopefully, even if the back door's left a bit more open than we would like, hopefully we can still hurt them on the ball anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we did go up there and get a draw last year, but I mean, we did ride our luck very heavily in that first half, didn't we? Like Emerson was doing his best to let Haaland in and score. Just Haaland didn't have his shooting boots on in that first half.
Yeah, but we still scored 3 goals.
We did score 3 goals. And look, I don't have I think we can, get at their back line, because it's not the strongest, even though they've probably conceded one of the least goals in the league this season. I think near to level to us, give or take 1 goal. So I think we can hurt their back line, but yeah, I am worried about that game in terms of you're facing the prospect of coming up against a bit of an angry Man City with some players quite rested. 4 losses. You don't ever want to be coming up against a Pep Guardiola Man City side on the back of 4 losses.
Yeah, definitely not. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Romero, we need to get this issue sorted. He can't keep carrying on with it, with the fact that he keeps going off early. He's even though he's feeling tired as well in that Man City game, he said he went off early because of fatigue. It wasn't because of that foot injury, and he got that foot injury in that challenge against Aston Villa where he went flying in on Rodgers. So I think at the moment maybe he could do with a break and just reset himself.
Let's talk about Sonny now, because he notched up his 50th goal for his national team, South Korea, yesterday from the penalty spot in a 3-1 win over Kuwait in the World Cup qualifying. And he spoke after the game about how he's been in terms of his fitness levels. And he says, "I want to thank my club, Tottenham Hotspur, for taking a great interest in my health and protecting me. I am feeling great. I'm back to my normal condition, and I would like to play at 100% in the next match. Thank you to my South Korean teammates for the opportunity to score so many goals. It's a huge honour to be mentioned alongside the great names in Korean football, but the most important thing to me was to win." And South Korean boss Heung-min Bo speaking about the same situation. He says he is currently struggling with injuries and is in a phase of repeated recovery. He played 90 minutes in the last match for Spurs, but when I watched him today for Korea, he wasn't at his best. I believe we need to continue protecting Son Heung-min for the future.
And I'm glad that he's thinking that way. Look, we watched the game. I think it was clear in the first half he was looking a lot sharper than he was in the second half. And the second half, he kind of was about the game and, fleeted away. Obviously, he won the penalty in that first half, and with a sharp bit of movement inside the box. And obviously, he had a couple of efforts. And I don't think he was at his best, but he was looking, I think he's looked decently sharp over the last few weeks since recovering from his injury. But we have to take good care of him. We saw against West Ham, we rushed him back. Well, I don't know if we rushed him back, but he came back from that injury, played, I think, 70 minutes or 75 minutes in that game, and then had to miss the Palace game because he couldn't recover in time. He's now come back against, who was it, Aston Villa, played 55 minutes, then went off, played against Galatasaray, and went off at half time. So we're clearly taking care of him and being very careful with him. But he did play 90 minutes against Ipswich. And then the manager was saying before the game, he's recovering. He came back a day later than his other teammates. So he's still in recovery, and we're not sure if he's going to play a part. They did start him, and even though just before he went off they had conceded a goal, so you'd think, would they leave him on and try and get that third goal? He still took him off, and they were very careful with him. And people got to remember, it's not about having him fresh for now, it's about having him fresh for the whole season. How can we keep him fresh for the long term? And I think right now, as he's just come back from an injury, and he's still in that phase of, recovering from that situation, you don't want to put too much pressure on him. So I think we're being smart about it. But hopefully, what we're doing now is so that when it comes to, say, December time, he can start playing regularly, like 90 minutes. And so for the long term, then he can be at that level. But right now, I don't know if he's clearly not fully recovered from this injury. It's still hurting him a bit. You've got to be careful with him.
Yeah, it's just frustrating what the South Korean boss is saying about him having he's in a phase of repeated recovery, which suggests he just can't seem to brush this injury off, which is frustrating. But Sonny says he's back to his normal condition, and then the Korea manager is saying that maybe he's not back to his best condition and you still need to protect him. So yeah, it's anyone's guess about when he can start playing proper regularly 90 minutes again.
Well, yeah, as we say, he did play 90 minutes against Ipswich and came through, looks like, fairly unscathed, albeit, he's the manager still saying he's in a phase of recovery. I'm sure when Son feels like if he's not injured, he should be playing as much as he was before. But I think clearly the medical staff are seeing something different, and they're
exactly.
saying he just as much as you feel fit, clearly you're not fully over this injury, and until you are, we're going to be careful.
Yeah, which is the right attitude to take.